So what you need to do is simply take your water cup, okay? Take your water cup and just put a dot of water in each one of the colors that you are going to be using, okay? You don't have to use all of them. Maybe I would just put it in like 3 or 4 of them, okay? So just a dot of water in each of them are the ones you're going to be using, okay? Ooh, I almost just took a drink out of my water cup. All right, so we are going to go ahead and get started. I will give you some time to complete these, but I am going to fold my paper here so you guys can see this a little bit better. We are going to go ahead and start with the basic watercolor technique, which is what we call a wash, okay? Now, most of the time when you guys paint with watercolor, you are simply just using a wash. So what a wash is that means you are just taking your whatever watercolor that you have and you are just creating a solid color. So please just go ahead and do that. Okay? Now, what I would also like you to do next to where it says dry brush, we'll come back to this one later. But what I want you to do, just maybe take that same color that you just did, and maybe up at the top half of that rectangle, go ahead and just paint another solid wash, and we need to let this dry for a little bit, okay? So just paint that, leave it. If your water is too, or if your color is not bright enough, what does that mean? You're using what? You're using too much water, okay? Okay, so we are going to skip over to the one that says value. Okay, so we talked a lot, our first portrait project that we did about value. So who can tell me what that word means? Erica. Okay, the lights and darks of a color. So that means you are just going to be creating one, yeah, it's kind of, you guys think about it as ombre, but it's really called value, okay? So, with value, pick a color. I'm going to do kind of this darker purple here. As you start to do this, start at the top, and this is a big space. Hey, watch guys. This is a big space. I would leave enough space that you can try it a couple times, okay? Because a lot of the times you do it the first time and it doesn't work. So here, go ahead and just start with the color. Oops, put that down. Start with that color. So I've started with the wash. Now, watch what I do. I want you to watch first before you continue. Okay, I'm waiting for everybody's eyes to look up. I will rinse out my brush, and I'm going to kind of squeeze it out a little bit, but I'm just going to kind of be painting with water. Watch what I do though. I start here, I'm not even touching the color. Then if I need to pick up some more of that color, I'll start to blend it down. Okay? So it should be going dark to light. Do you guys see that? Okay, so go ahead and try that. I would recommend trying it with a couple of different colors to kind of see the difference a little bit, okay? So I'm going to do mine with kind of a darker blue here. So start with your color. Paint the water next to it. And you'll start to create that value. Now, if you are using too much water, this is what's going to happen. Take a look. If you're using too much water, you'll start here. You'll put the water next to it. And it's just going to make this big puddle of a mess. And it's not going to be in line. That means you're using too much water. So you see how it just formed into one blob and I don't see the dark to light there. So then you need to give it a second to dry a little bit. Okay, as you are practicing that one, I am going to come around and give your table a little piece of the saran wrap to get ready for it. So just continue to practice, and we'll move on here in a minute. I'm just going to put a, oh, never mind, I'm going to give you a little piece. Ooh, that's looking good, guys. Okay, next up, and you might have some time to practice some of that value in a second, we are going to skip down to the bottom corner that says saran wrap, okay? So you will need to have, did I skip anybody by accident? Okay, so I am going to, first for this one, I recommend using two colors. Two colors usually looks a little bit cooler. So I am going to use some colors that I know mix really well together. And remember, if I can't remember if colors mix well together, where can I look? On some of those charts over there or the color wheel, okay? So I am going to use some, I'm going to have some green and blue happening, okay? So I'm just going to kind of paint. Oh, you can't really see that. Let me try the darker green. So I'm just going to use kind of a little darker color here. And I'm going to mix in a little bit of blue. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of do something like this. Now, there's a lot of color on there. Then what you will do, watch please. Your piece of saran wrap will create a really, really cool texture to it. So you kind of keep it crumpled up. And then you're just going to set it on top. Kind of press it down and leave it. Don't touch it after that. Okay? We'll take it off here in a little bit. Okay? Or maybe not even till tomorrow. So go ahead and do that. on top. You want, yep, then just lean it. Just you do your best to kind of keep it in place there. Phone call, that's popular. This is Misha, guys. Yes. Haley, put your stuff away. Haley Gundo, you're leaving. Nope, she'll do it. The only thing I wanted you guys to do was prep the surface. Put it in your bin. Put it in your bin. Just on the top. Okay. We are going to move on here. Let me check my time. How much do we have? 10 minutes? Yeah, we have about 10 minutes. Okay, so we should be able to get through a couple more of these. The next one we are going to do is we are going to do the one that says rubbing alcohol. Okay? So let's go up to the top corner. And I'm going, just because I don't have a lot of space here, I'm going to turn mine sideways. You don't need to do that. Okay, for rubbing alcohol. For rubbing alcohol, what you are going to do is you can, okay, so one of the cool things about these watercolor techniques is that you can actually combine a lot of these techniques together. Like, could I do value with saran wrap? Yeah, absolutely, okay? And we haven't even talked about all of the other ones that we can do yet either, okay? But rubbing alcohol. So once again, I think this one looks really cool. With multiple colors. It can look good with solid colors as well. But how it works, please watch first before you complete it. How it works is I'm going to do a solid color first, and then I'm going to leave the other half to do two colors, okay? So what you will do is you will take one solid color, and I am going to kind of pick I'm actually going to use black so you guys can see it pretty well. Okay, so I'm just going to start by painting here. I don't want you to do this yet. Don't want you to do it yet. If it is not dark enough, that means you are using too much water, and that's not going to work for this, okay? Now this time, I'm going to rinse out my brush. I'm going to kind of squeeze it out just a little bit. And now I'm going to dip it into this rubbing alcohol here, okay? And when you are doing this, you're not actually just painting with it. You're kind of just making a little bit of a dot, okay? So watch. As I know there's a little bit of a glare there. Here. So as you press it down, it kind of pushes the paint away and creates this cool type of effect. Let me show you what that looks like with two colors. Two color looks really cool. So I got to rinse out my brush first. I'm going to do kind of that blue-green combination. Again, can't go wrong with that one. Okay, now watch what happens when I do this. So it kind of pushes the colors away a little bit. If you have too much water on it, though, it's not going to work very well, okay? But it has to be on the paint that is in a dried surface. If I would try to do it over here on the wash area, nothing's going to happen because that's already dry, okay? So go ahead and try it. Like Frozen? Is that?
Like roses.
Oh, I think it's Frozen. I thought like it was like the ice cream castle. Yeah, kind of creates a good combination here. Okay, this is where we will stop today. Hold up though. Okay. What I want you to take a look at. Before we clean things up, let's go. Let me check mine, see if it's ready. Nope, just leave the saran wrap there. You'll see what that looks like tomorrow. When you come put it in your bin tomorrow, it'll like dry up. Or I mean, it won't even be attached anymore. It'll come right off and you'll see the cool effect, okay? So, let me stop this screen recording here.